government is actively monitoring the challenges faced by Indian H1 visa holders amid a surge in backlash and profiling of IT and management professionals by far-right groups in the United States. Ministries of External Affairs, Commerce and IT have initiated collaborative measures to safeguard the interests of Indian workers legally employed in the US. The Ministry of External Affairs is closely tracking potential challenges in American visa policies, particularly those affecting IT, tech and management professionals. This includes updates from Indian mission in the US to ensure a comprehensive understanding of the situation. My colleague Mohammad Ghazali is joining me for more on this story. Ghazali, do tell us as to who are these people who are particularly facing the challenges, and while Elon Musk and Donald Trump himself is backing the entry of the IT professionals, the technocrats, but there seems to be a pushback from Trump supporters.
See, this is basically a kind of, you say, a slight U-turn by Trump. He first spoke about not giving aid to Ukraine for its prolonged war, but later he hinted that funds should be given or aid should be given to Ukraine. Now, this particular issue was raked up after appointment of an Indian origin person on a key post in US, after which the MAGA supporters of Make America Great Again, or Trump supporters, have started talking about that how most of these jobs or top jobs are going to Indian origin people. And that is when the entire issue of H1B visa came up, because Trump has also spoken about anti-immigration policies or creating more stronger wall between US and Mexico when it comes to immigration from that country. Now, the moment H1B visa issue was raked up, it ultimately points towards India, because most of the data suggests that out of all the H1B visa issued annually from US, 70% goes to the Indian citizens or Indian nationals who move towards, who go to US. Now, this is a kind of U-turn, or say even Elon Musk, a South African-born entrepreneur, he has moved to US, he backed this visa policy. In an interview to New York Post, Trump also said that he backs this visa policy or this particular scheme. So that is why the opinion is divided between Trump and his supporters, and how it will impact the Indians, because as I rightly pointed out that it is the Indians who are the most beneficiaries of this particular scheme, and that is why a kind of heads are rolling over in US to see whether structural changes can be met to the H1B visa scheme, or how to follow his own line, how Trump should follow his own line when he talks about anti-immigration or giving jobs to the Americans first or giving them priorities first.
Thank you, Ghazali, for getting us all those details. I'm also joined by Varun Singh, the MD of Ziphias Immigration. He's a certified investment migration consultant. Mr. Singh, do tell us, what are you hearing about this backlash that is happening in the US, particularly from the Indian technocrats who are there?
Yeah, hi Rika. See, this was supposed to be happened, after this 2025, when Trump comes and takes the control over. This H1B and the employment-based visas, whichever is in India, and a lot of Indians, as Ghazali told, that 70-75% of the quotas comes from Indians. But if you step down, Rika, and if you see why these reforms and changes are required, is because from last 10-20 years, all the IT companies in India has grown to the next level, and the dependency in US market is based on the Indian resources, and the numbers of the quota which they allot every year, that's not sufficient for the US businesses and even the Indian businesses. So that means if you see the success ratio, then it looks very good. But when you see the failure part, then that is very disappointing numbers, because there are more than 500,000, 600,000 techies and tech professionals. They apply for the same opportunity, but hardly 10 to 15% of them get the options. No matter, even the employer has given the options for you to hire and to select and to work in your country in the same company. But unfortunately, due to this regulations and intakes, and due to the technical parameters and technical structure, there are a lot of clauses. That's why the Sri Ram Krishnan was introduced for being a AI policy advisor, because this policies which is there, Rika, is basically old policies, and this needs to be reformed for 2025 for the it's for the betterment for the India also, and Indian companies too, because a lot of trade transfers, exports, imports of the SEZs are happening. But these numbers in 2025 looks very promising, and that's why their reforms is very important for the both bilateral trades and for looking to the bigger picture and bigger number. These numbers are very low numbers, and that's why if you are looking for if you have aspiration to work in US and your employer has given you the signal to come or the approvals to come, but still you can't come. This is where the clauses needs to be fixed in 2025. The policies, the technology, the AI and the backend, the data structures. This is where the appointments in recent changes, Rika, you can't imagine. The families were struggling to take an appointments, and for the appointments, there was a waiting period for 6 months and 8 months. So there are a lot of factors. It's not only the techies. There are families, humanitarian grounds, spouses, children's, parents. They're all visas. They struggle because of this structural problem. So when there's a policy is driven and when the structure is reformed, this end users will be benefited, and this benefit is pending from long time. And
I really have two questions for you, and these are two ends of one question. One is the ones who are already there, you know, with H1B visa. What does their future really look like? And we are talking about 4 lakh applications still pending. What are the prospects of these, you know, applications then going through in the face of what is happening?
Yeah, absolutely. Rika, if you see the number of applicants, almost 76,000 to 80,000 main applicants. Mainly the main applicants means if, husband and wife. So if the main applicant is almost that number, then you can add up the same numbers for your dependents. So for the dependents, the benefit has come across the new policies where the dependents were allowed to take 6 months of approvals and the renewals for their employment part, which has been extended to 1.5 years. This is a big relief, because the tedious process of getting into the approvals and the tedious process of getting the back-end system, so that has been improved. And the major benefits they will get, the H1B candidates will get, that they can shift their employment and their visa status to employment-based visa, which provides them a green card. So mainly the EB3, EB1 or EB5. So this is one of the gateway for them. And also when the visa extension is not done, still they have an option to switch over to their spouse employment. So there is no, I see that there is a big relief coming for the Indian families who wants to live there and make their career and life in US. But because of the visa challenges, there were always a distress, and there were always unknown gray area in as I've been speaking in the past interviews also, that there are a lot of reforms which is still pending from decades. And this is why the Elon Musk and Trump, they look this as a business, not as a policy maker only. They are seeing that the businesses are suffering, and the business should get supported through this technology.
Absolutely. Mr. Musk has his own interest of getting these the large volume of tech employees for his own business. So yes, while you know they are wanting more and more talent to come in, there is a definite pushback from Trump supporters, and as you mentioned, the MAGA supporters, they are not in favor of this. Do you think that, you know, given what the state is, that reforms really are possible even when Mr. Trump comes in?
See, I believe there are a lot of unnecessary discussions are going on, because once the clarity comes in terms of the process and the structuring of how they are going to do this reform, when the clarity is given, this clarity will give comfort to all the other sides of critics also, because this critics which is happening it's based on some racist critics. It's not based on your skill sets and your quotas and your reforms and your need of the hour. So I believe this all will go off in 2025 once Trump is take control over his office, and when more detailed and more informative informations and structures that we can see, then I believe that yes, the cloud which is right now, it will get off in most probably by next month. So once we have the clarity, things will become more promising. And it looks very promising, Rika, because this is very old pending stories, and these issues are very old issues. This is not a new issues. And if any reforms are happening, of course, and 100%, the businesses and the end users will definitely get benefit of it. So the requirement is big, the demand is big, supply is low, and demand is high. So they are trying to fix the supply and demand.
While supply demand chain is being fixed, it is a big dilemma also, big political dilemma for US. On one hand, Mr. Trump is talking about pushing back the immigrants. On the other hand, they need these skilled people, they need technocrats to come to America to make America great again, which is their campaign perhaps. Tell us what really could be those challenges in front of them while they are trying to structure these reforms.
Rika, I don't believe there are challenges because it's all data driven and already the system is in place. The system is not a new system. This is a very old process system, and there's a huge volume. The challenges, I believe, is based on the data migrations, the authenticities, the genuinity, and how you ethically handle the data, because this is all confidential, are very highly confidential informations for any families of any home department. So handling this, the transformation and transition process takes time, and it is a painful process. But I believe if there is a will in that, then I don't think this is a long pending and painful process. The transition will happen through the infusion. Then I believe this is not going to be a big escalations for ongoing applications. Of course, there will be challenges because it's a huge numbers, and these numbers are connected to a life cycle model of the employees or the people who are working in US.
Right.
So the life cycle model is still disconnected. Once this they reform, and this is all tech industry.
Right.
So that's why we have seen, as a technology experts, we also know that there is a lot of gaps in the system. So I believe this is very promising year going to come in front of us for US history.
Mr. Singh, are we only talking about the IT industry right now, or are there other industries who could potentially be impacted by this?
See, very right, Rika. Please understand that US, of course, the Silicon Valley, people talk about IT and Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Gurgaon, Noida. This is all the hub for Indians IT companies. But there are a lot of industries which are all into the manufacturing, hospitality, services. Right. These companies, they suffer a lot. Take an example, if you're running a hotel, 5-star hotel, and you need a chef and take an example, waiters. Yeah. So you can wait for an IT guys, but you can't wait your business for chef and waiters to run the business. So this is a big pain area. People always talking about ITs, but you see there are more than thousands of 5-star hotel chains, industries, tourism are there. So this industry is very impacted because we are talking about IT because we are in IT city and we are talking about Indians and the techies. But if you see the overall 25% of the history, the construction industry is a big industry there. Then the hospitality is a big industry. Again, the service industry, again, it's the biggest industry there. So overall, the picture of with Indian, with techies, others will also get benefited, I believe, with this reform.
Interesting. We will, of course, closely follow this story. Thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you so much.